Hello and happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm meteorologist Rich Marriott, and this is Weather Out West, our hour-long show where we travel together checking out what's happening weather-wise across the western U.S. We'll cover your weather from the Pacific Northwest to the Mountain West and California to Arizona in the Southwest. Today, we're starting with Sacramento, where some places have started off with some clouds and fog, but they're looking for a chance of storms and some increasing wildfire risks. Meteorologist Monica Woods has the details.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods with a very active regional forecast for northern and central California. Our headlines include morning fog, afternoon sun for the coast, for the valley, morning clouds starting off our weekend. For the foothills, a chance of storms, and those storms in the Sierra, that's going to bring an increase of fire risk. A look at the viewers sending in these photos and videos of lightning throughout the region last night into early this morning. Picked up about 0.03 of an inch of rain in some locations. And our own Matt George traveling from the valley into the upper valley, catching these photos illuminating the nighttime sky. We saw a lot of lightning strikes last night into early this morning. National Weather Service putting the numbers together. Over 1,500 strikes from 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday through early Friday morning. Expect more of this coming in for tonight, early tomorrow. Lake Tahoe starting off with the clear skies. A little bit of cumulus starting to form right now around the lake. We still have that fire danger, isolated dry lightning possible for the east side of the crest in particular, but also along 395. That's going to put it right around the California and Nevada state border, where we have the highest risk of those lightning sparked fires. We saw a little one pop up yesterday afternoon, quickly contained, with additional resources coming in from parts of Northern California to attack those fires aggressively. Friday's forecast, still that chance of thunderstorms throughout the Sierra, parts of the north end of the valley where we saw it overnight Thursday into early Friday. Lake Tahoe weekend forecast. If you have any plans up there, be prepared for the thunderstorms. That means camping and recreation safety. Know the weather forecast. Notify family and friends of plans. Plan your evacuation route and shelter. Also pack charged phones and safety kit. Lots of low clouds and fog along the coast. This is Marin County near San Francisco, Placer County. Some of that low cloudiness as well as El Dorado County holding on to that moisture that we saw yesterday. Amador County in the foothills starting off with clear skies, where readings will reach the 80s for today, as well as in the valley. Unseasonably cool weather there. 60s along the coast heading into our Friday. It has been unseasonably cool for Sacramento. We're talking over 15 days below average. Such a contrast to last year. This year, one 100-degree day. Last year, we had 16. We're going to see some of that cloud cover move in for tonight, early tomorrow for the valley. More thunderstorms for the Sierra. And then for Saturday, you can see some of those clouds trying to stretch their way through the valley to start us off. They clear quickly, but the thunderstorm, meantime, will pick up for the Sierra. That will see a near repeat for our Sunday forecast. Even into Monday, a slight chance of thunderstorms, mainly east of the crest, though. Let's get to those numbers on this Friday. Highs in the 70s for the Sierra with that chance of thunderstorms. Southward we go with the chance of storms as well near Yosemite, a high of 76. Now, as we head into the valley, we'll keep it clear but unseasonably mild. Highs upper 80s to right around 90. Central coast, lots of low clouds and fog, only 60s across the Monterey Bay Peninsula, down towards Morro Bay, San Luis Obispo, 60s and low 70s with near 90 inland. Bay Area forecast, so much fog on this Friday morning, partial afternoon clearing, highs in the 60s, lots of low clouds, even a little bit of drizzle along the northwest coast. Our high reaching 59 for Fort Bragg. Inland areas, watch out for the potential of afternoon thunderstorms around Red Bluff and Redding. For the capital region, we'll keep it mostly dry for today. Highs in the low to mid 80s, some of us reaching right around the low 90s. But that risk of thunderstorms continues through the weekend forecast for the mountains. For the foothills, slight chance of a late day, early morning thunderstorm. And then for the coast, so much fog over the weekend, partial afternoon clearing, highs in the 60s. Extended forecast, yes, we warm up, but we're still going to stay slightly below average. We're wrapping up July, starting off August in the 80s.
And we're headed off next to San Diego, where they're expecting to see a cooler than average weekend, but warmer temperatures are on tap for next week. Let's check in with meteorologist Vanessa Paz.
Well, happy Friday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. Hope you all had a lovely work week. We are just hours away until the weekend. And here in San Diego County, we have a lot of things happening. Our second weekend of the Del Mar races, and we also have Comic-Con officially underway in the Gaslamp. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick look at headlines and what we can expect as we wrap up the work week. Cooler than normal start to the weekend, mainly the first half. And then once we get to the second half, things are going to start to gradually warm up closer to seasonal. We'll continue to have that marine layer spill well into the valleys, closer to the foothill areas as well. And we'll be noticeably warmer, but it really won't feel warmer until we get to the middle of next week. Here's what I'm forecasting for today's highs across our coastal areas. Those neighborhoods that hug the immediate coast and the 5 freeway will touch in the low 70s to high 60s from La Jolla all the way down to about San Isidro. Closer to the inland valleys, topping out in low 80s for spots like Santee as well as El Cajon. Moving a little more northward, those areas that hug the 15 freeway from Fallbrook all the way to about Rancho Bernardo will top out in the mid to high 70s. And in the North County, beach and coastal communities will produce highs in the mid to low 70s throughout the day. If you're visiting San Diego and you're looking for those warmer conditions, especially those highs that top out in the low hundreds and feel a lot more like summer, just head east towards the mountain areas, close to 80 degrees for areas like Julian as well as Mount Laguna and Borrego Springs as well as Ocotillo Wells. We'll see highs in the low hundreds later on this afternoon. The winds are going to have an uptick. Breezy conditions from the coast all the way towards the valley areas, but the strongest winds are going to target the county's eastern half. Isolated gusts will exceed anywhere between 40 to 45 miles per hour. They'll subside a little bit this evening and then pick back up again for Saturday afternoon into the evening hours. And then once we get that high pressure developing, more of that offshore flow, that's when those winds will die down a bit. All right, so here's a look at what's happening aloft. We have this cutoff low from the jet stream. It's kind of sitting stagnant off the coast of California, and that's what's going to continue to enhance onshore flow for us here in Southern California, including San Diego County. Eventually, we'll have a ridge of high pressure, also known as a bubble of warm air, expand, increase, and that will bring us warm conditions as well as a weaken the marine layer when it comes to the morning and evening hours. Here's what I have on top for tonight's lows, and this is for maybe anyone who plans to head to San Diego this weekend. Tonight, we are going to be in the low 60s from Oceanside all the way to downtown San Diego. Quite brisk tonight for areas like Ramona, dropping down to the 50s, low 50s as well for Mount Laguna and in Julian. All right, it's going to be a cooler than normal Saturday in comparison to where we should be for this time of the year. Daytime highs are going to be anywhere between 4 to nearly 10 degrees cooler than average. I have mostly mid to low 70s for our coastal neighborhoods. Those are the most populated neighborhoods along the coastal spots, and then we'll be in the low 80s in El Cajon, Ramona. High 70s on tap for tomorrow afternoon in Palomar Mountain, and we'll be topping out in the low hundreds for Borrego Springs. All right, it's going to be almost picture perfect conditions for the Comic-Con event. Daytime highs will be nice, mid 70s with plenty of sunshine to go around. Here's what I have on tap for the next 7 days. Subtle daily changes all the way through early next week, but then we'll start to feel noticeably warmer come middle of next week. For the inland valleys, I have highs in the high 70s, low 80s all the way up until Monday, and then you start to see that gradual climb in temperatures. These temperatures are actually close to where we should be for this time of the year, so we're not going to see any extreme heat whatsoever, but in fact those daytime highs are just going to be inching near seasonal. The mountain areas will be in the high 70s, low 80s up until the weekend, and then we'll see those daytime highs climbing closer to 90 degrees by the start of next week. For the desert areas, low hundreds on tap for the first half of the weekend, and then we have a very slow climb closer to 110 by the time we hit next Monday and Tuesday.
And after a quick break, we'll head to the Pacific Northwest and see what it looks like for the weekend in Boise and in Seattle. Stay with us. Welcome back. Next up is Boise. They're looking for some isolated thunderstorms for the weekend and maybe a little cooling before it warms up again. Hector Mendoza has the forecast.
Hi and welcome. My name is Hector Mendoza, forecasting out here in Boise, Idaho. And here is what the setup is going to be here for most places in southwest Idaho for this afternoon and heading into the weekend and into the beginning of next week, as we'll continue to see some of the moisture being pumped in through Friday, seeing some instability coming along. So thunderstorm chances do come along into portions of the Treasure Valley. Although they stay pretty isolated, it looks like most likely the higher chances are up into some of the mountain areas for this afternoon and evening. evening, and then we're going to continue to see those chances for isolated thunderstorms as we've been talking about all week there for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and extending on through at least the middle of the week as we do continue pretty unsettled. Most likely some of those systems will continue all the way up into the north in some of the mountain areas, but for the weekend we do anticipate, at least for Saturday, seeing some of those thunderstorms possibly rolling through and some showers to roll along with that as we head on into Saturday. So this is just a look at Saturday and looking into the afternoon, as that's where we're anticipating some of those systems to come along between 5 and 6 o'clock there into Saturday. Then that will roll its way on through, and then we're expecting it to just kind of maintain itself up north into some of the mountain areas as we get on into the overnight hours, and then we stay relatively dry through the Treasure Valley into the Magic Valley and even up into the mountains into early on Saturday. But again, the chance of some of those thunderstorms to kind of come and go through the weekend are still sticking around there in places up into the mountains, as they could bubble up again there as we head on into Sunday night, closer into Monday. Then after that, as we're rolling through, we'll see some of those temperatures drop for the weekend, just a few degrees, still staying into the low 90s. And then we're going to see a ridge of high pressure building in over the Great Plains. That's going to bring us some warmer temperatures there on Monday. Continue to warm up the temperatures, getting closer to triple digits there as we get on into Tuesday and Wednesday. And then we're expecting to see another slight cool down, but still into the mid 90s as we head on into Thursday. And that's pretty much what we're expecting as we head on into Friday and Saturday of next week. But for this weekend, we're going to see the low 90s, so dropping down there, seeing the chance of some thunderstorms into the afternoon on Saturday. And then we see a little bit more of that sunshine coming along with 92 degrees, the expected high there, with mostly sunny skies on Sunday. And as we take a look at some of the conditions for tomorrow, this is what we're expecting out in Twin Falls and places in the Magic Valley, as we're going to see lots of clouds make their way through very early on, and that pretty much sticks around for most of the day. Some lighter winds do come along, but again, we are expecting these conditions to pretty much stick around for the Treasure and Magic Valleys. And as we take a look here at the 7-day forecast for the mountains, we're going to see those temperatures again staying into the low 80s for Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures will rise into the mid 80s with some cloudy skies pretty much across the board through next week, and then temperatures sticking around between those low to upper 80s at least the following week. As we look at the 7-day forecast here in Twin Falls, we are going to see that those temperatures again drop in some areas. Here expecting to hit the upper 80s for Saturday and Sunday, seeing that sunshine on full display there for Monday, back into the low 90s, and then into the mid 90s for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then seeing those clouds return as we get some mostly sunny skies there Wednesday, and expecting some clouds to come along and roll through there on Thursday. Now as we take a look here at the 7-day forecast of Boise and for places here in the Treasure Valley, we are going to see those temperatures a little warmer, staying into the low 90s. That is here. We are going to see again, just kind of reiterating here, the chance of some thunderstorms rolling along for Saturday afternoon. Then we see drier conditions there for Sunday into Monday, and then temperatures start to warm up, getting closer to triple-digit heat into the upper 90s there for Tuesday and Wednesday. Then we see those partly cloudy skies, maybe a little bit more of that sunshine rolling through for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But the chance to see some instability still continues at least through Thursday, and we're expecting those temperatures to stay into the mid 90s as we head towards the end of next week.
Well, next we head west to Seattle, where there hasn't been any measurable rain this month, but they started today with clouds and a little bit of drizzle, but more sunshine and warmer weather return over the weekend. Here's the latest. Hi, I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Merritt, and boy, a real change in our weather from all the sunshine we had earlier in the week. We did see a big push of marine air in last night. Low deck clouds moved in, and it also was able to produce a little bit of drizzle or some mist scattered around the area that wet down some of the roads. May have made it a little bit more slippery for that morning commute on this Friday. Take a look out. That Granite Falls High School camera still seeing a little bit of mist probably out there in the distance. Queen Anne camera definitely sitting in the bottom of the cloud, but we've been watching the cloud droplets on the camera lens there. There's a little bit of drizzle and mist that's kind of moved through there and through downtown Seattle. I actually went out at one point this morning outside the station just to be sure it was coming down, and it surely was. Not much, but enough to dampen things enough. And it's been a long run since we've had any rain on the roads in Seattle, so even that little bit of moisture like that's able to float a little bit of the oil up and probably made for a little bit more slippery commute this morning. There in Tacoma, starting to see things brighten up a little bit after a pretty gray morning. It looked a lot like we were into October and November already. Big change from yesterday. We did see those temperatures cool yesterday, but still saw plenty of sunshine around the area. We got into the low to mid 70s pretty much everywhere yesterday. A little bit warmer there to the south and east of I-5 down there around Tacoma, but overall a real drop of about 5 to 8 degrees from what we had the day before, and it's going to drop even more for today. Take a look at our rainfall so far this month. Out of the airport, our main climatological station, nothing measurable in the gauge. We did have on July 9th, we did have just a trace out of the airport, but that's all we've been able to muster. So it's been really dry out there. Even Hoquiam out towards the coast, which would normally be a wet station, has only had 0.08 of an inch. And up there in Bellingham, they have picked up a little bit of rain from systems passing through southern British Columbia, and also a little bit came over the Cascades early last week. So they've gotten a little bit up there, but they're still 1/3 of an inch or so behind for the month. So really a very, very dry July, though they are traditionally dry. We only average out at the airport only 0.6 of an inch for the month of July, which is actually less than the 0.91 of an inch they get on average in Phoenix. So in the month of July, Seattle is drier than Phoenix. That's a real switch of positions. But we're coming into a really dry part of the year for the Pacific Northwest, and for Seattle, the number of times it's rained in the last 79 years, it's going to be 80 years this year. You can see it ranges all the way from the only 5 days for July 31st and July 29th to 7 days in this stretch. We have probably about a week, the last week of July, first week of August, we're looking at very dry conditions. You can see the total rainfalls over 79 years, not even up to an inch for any of those days. So very dry weather. In short term, well, we're not really looking for any more rain for the month of July. You can see in our 7-day first alert to forecast, we do see temperatures warm up, but we stay dry. In fact, we warm back up with more sunshine to wrap up July and head on into August. Take a look at the satellite image this morning. You can see we do have the clouds over western Washington. Little weak system moving through British Columbia is what gave us the increased onshore winds, and also lifted it just enough to squeeze that little bit of drizzle and mist this morning. That's going to move on out of the way, and high pressure is going to build in from the southeast. That's going to put us back in a fair weather and warm pattern as we head towards the end of the weekend and next week. And see on the computer model, we do clear out later this afternoon, seeing a little bit of sunshine. The clouds move back in, not looking for any drizzle or mist tomorrow morning, just clouds, and those should clear out as we head on towards tomorrow afternoon. Be in pretty good shape to wrap up the weekend and head into next week. Good air quality expected up and down the sound, so we're in pretty good shape with that. And if we take a look at, if you happen to be headed out this afternoon on Friday to the Seahawks training camp, which starts at 1 o'clock, not too bad. It doesn't look encouraging, but you are going to be seeing some sunshine out there, and standing around out in the sun in the low 70s, a lot more comfortable than in the low to mid 80s really out there in Renton, so that'll be a plus. Overall, though, as we head into the weekend, things looking pretty good. Tomorrow we're going to look for a little bit of, today we're going to be looking for that little bit of morning drizzle to wrap up by mid to late morning. Clearing out a little bit this afternoon. Still cool for today though, in the 60s and low 70s. A little bit warmer tomorrow into the mid to upper 70s by Sunday as we head into next week. Look for patchy morning clouds, otherwise sunshine. High temperatures in the 70s to the low 80s, or maybe some mid 80s on Wednesday, and it looks like we'll stay in that range all the way through the first few days of August. You know, I'm beginning to believe in doppelgangers after watching that. Well, weather-wise, we're going to make a stop at a roadside rest area for a few minutes, and when we take off again, we'll be checking in on Denver and Phoenix's forecasts. Well, next we head for the Rocky Mountain State, where Denver looks like they're finally getting some relief from the showers that have been bothering them all week. Meteorologist Kathy Sabin has more on that high pressure that should bring them drier weather.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team meteorologist Kathy Sabin, and we have been tracking slow-moving thunderstorms all week long. We love the rain. We love what comes after the rain, all of the wonderful rainbow pictures our viewers have been sending in. But we've had rain day after day in some of the burn scar areas because of the influx of that tropical flow of moisture from Mexico into the desert Southwest and into Colorado. So with light steering winds aloft, we're seeing these slow-moving storms move over the Front Range foothills and into Denver. We've had this for the past 3 days. Well, today, high pressure is shifting, and so will the moisture plume. So we're actually going to kick off a warming and drying trend. We've enjoyed temperatures below average the last couple of days in the 70s and 80s, but today we're back to 90, and the heavy showers and storms will shift from central Texas through the northern plain states and into the Midwest. Lots of water coming up from the southwest, and there's enough residual moisture that we could see A couple of mountain and foothill storms, but for Denver, there's only a 20% chance that we'll see a thunderstorm here. Severe threat is north and east of the area today and tomorrow, so that is a piece of good news. We start with some sunshine today. There may be some stratus and some fog because of all of the water that came in with storms yesterday. A little push of moisture, so there'll be isolated storms south, Castle Rock, Colorado Springs, Pueblo, and then into the evening east of Lyman and Burlington, we may have a couple of storms with wind and lightning along with the rain. We start in the 60s this morning and warm to the low 90s today. A hot, dry forecast that will see us close to 100 degrees over the weekend into the first part of next week. And then we'll see moisture coming back into the state by Tuesday in the form of afternoon storms. And then we're tracking a cooling trend with temperatures in the 70s and 80s for the middle part of next week.
Well, the number one question I've gotten as a meteorologist this week is, why did the thunderstorms miss my house? In the Denver metro area, the majority of you did not see a thunderstorm this week, though a lot of you did. First of all, let's show you where we did see a lot of thunderstorms. Greeley yesterday getting absolutely walloped with hail and rain. Franktown, South Denver, seeing about 2 inches of rain. East Denver and West Aurora and Central Aurora also picking up about 1.5 inches of rain back on Wednesday night. So, of course, not everybody missing out on storms. However, if you look at the approximate rain map, I drew this up, so take this with a grain of salt. But the kind of point here is the majority of the immediate Denver metro area did not see a thunderstorm this week. So I've been getting this question nonstop. Why did I not get a storm? Is there something weird about my house or my neighborhood or my town that is causing these storms to miss my area? Let's get into that a little bit. First of all, these thunderstorms that we saw this week were hit or miss showers and thunderstorms. And hit or miss means hit or miss, means some places get storms, some people don't get storms. So East Denver, for example, again, got walloped. Greeley got walloped. Fort Lupton, Keensburg yesterday, getting absolutely walloped with storms. But there is a little science behind why this week specifically we did not see storms in the immediate Denver area, or at least a lot of it. The East Metro area got a bit more favored this week because you've got access to more Gulf moisture, so a bit more low-level energy. But the majority of the reason why you did not see storms, there's just a bit of a hit or miss nature to these sorts of storms here, folks. And that is why a lot of you did not end up seeing a thunderstorm this week. But mid next week, we'll have another chance for storms. Hopefully then we'll get some needed rain.
And now we make the short hop from Denver to Phoenix, where they're also getting a break from the monsoonal moisture. Meteorologist Jen Wall has more on the nice weather Phoenix should see this weekend.
I'm meteorologist Jen Wall here in Phoenix, waking up to the 80s right now. It's actually a pretty mild morning once again. We've just been spoiled here so far in July. Low 60s Prescott, upper 60s Sedona. That continues into Payson and Globe this morning. 50s Show Low, and then we even have some 40s on the map, Grand Canyon and Flagstaff. Valley neighborhoods right now in the upper 70s, just stunning in Goodyear, Laveen, Surprise, Sun City, West Valley. You know, we can be waking up to the 90s this time of year. Mid 70s right around Apache Junction, Mesa, and then again, once you get into that Phoenix area, you're down to those 80s. So a little warmer in the central part of the city. Dew points still very dry today. This is the picture setting up for the weekend too. And you can tell because we're in the 20s and 30s. So really no chances for storms statewide through Sunday, but that does change. So temperatures with this high pressure, the dry conditions, those are going to continue to rise in the afternoon. And then storm chances make a return by Monday in northern Arizona. They'll follow in the lower deserts after that, and I'll show you in just a second. Satellite radar very clear this morning all the way from Southern California across the state. Just a few clouds in northern Arizona, but you know, everywhere else we have clear skies. You will be waking up to full sunshine today. Our 12 News exclusive monsoon meter is at a 0. So we're not expecting, again, any storms The only thing you're really going to notice is going to be the warmer temps. So we're getting a little above average into the weekend. And then breezy conditions tomorrow north. Again, those storms north will return by Monday, but that's not really going to happen. Your Futurecast even confirming that. This is all the way through Friday evening. And then you're looking ahead to Saturday, just passing clouds. I mean, it's tough to get even clouds around the state once again today. Breezy conditions this afternoon and again tomorrow. You're about 20 to 25 miles per hour from Flagstaff to Sedona, Grand Canyon. Around the valley, you know, not bad at all. 5 to 10 miles per hour at best. High today in Phoenix is 108. That's only 2 degrees above average. You know, we have just had awful summers temperature wise the last couple of years. Just remember, 2 years ago, we had a high of 119 today, smashing records. So we're 10 degrees below that. Right about where we should be this time of year. You'll spend triple-digit time from about noon to 8 p.m., maybe even a little longer than that. Again, topping out around 106. So it is going to be a hot one today. Full sunshine statewide. 110 Gila Bend, 105 in Quartzsite, 80 Flagstaff, 95 Winslow, 87 Show Low, 104 Safford, and then 84 north at the Grand Canyon. Around your valley neighborhoods, anywhere from about 106 to 108, depending on location. Buckeye Surpriser at 106 today, 107 Glendale Levine, 108 in Phoenix. And then take a look east. We're at 104 Fountain Hills, Apache Junction, 107 in Chandler. 7-day forecast. This is when we're going to start to see the changes, but first we have to watch those temperatures rise. So tomorrow we're back to 106. That's right at average this time of year. Back above Sunday, Monday, but again, not bad. I did put that 110, keeping it there for Monday. Then take a look at early next week. Very slight storm chances Tuesday, and then we're at about 30% Wednesday, Thursday. So the earliest we could see any action in the desert is probably Monday evening. More likely though, Wednesday and Thursday. Turning to Flagstaff, better opportunities here. A dry weekend, 70s tomorrow with breezy conditions, just stunning. And then you can see as the temperatures drop, those storm chances increase. Good opportunities north Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
And we've covered a lot of ground, but we still need to check in on the weekend forecast for Portland and Spokane. That's up right after a short break. Welcome back. We round out our out west weather tour, returning back to the Pacific Northwest. Portland is still at comfortable temperatures, and a few clouds are here and there around the area. Meteorologist Rod Hill has more on the nice weather they can expect for the weekend.
Always a pleasure to say happy Friday from the beautiful city of Portland. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill with our weather today and what's going to be a really comfortable weekend here in the great state of Oregon. And we are still watching fire news, and in particular, the fires burning in Klickitat County, which is kind of in the central Columbia River Gorge on the Washington side. Our nearest here at KGW TV, nearest live camera is the one out in the Dalles in Wasco County from the Oregon Veterans Home. And obviously, it's really sunny, right? So right in here, you can see a little haze if you look carefully. The fire is really not putting out much smoke, and the news continues to be really good in terms of increased containment over the past 24 hours and the fire really not spreading any of note. We're watching the winds, noticeably breezy, that continues, but it's been the case the last several days, so the fire crews won't be facing anything new today. Northwest gusting to 23 early this morning. As we go through the day, weather models show that area of the gorge could see winds gusting from the west-northwest as high as about 30. The fire is east of Hood River, and it stops right before you get to the town of Lyle. And this shows Lyle at 31 mile per hour wind gusts at 5 o'clock this afternoon. That wind picture continues. On the good news front is our overwhelming regional headline is cooling weather going into the weekend. Remember, we were here in Portland, we hit 90 2 days ago. Today, we're only looking at being about 80. And the Columbia River Gorge, Hood River, if you've never been, oh my gosh, plan your trips. Such a beautiful place. 82 degrees on a clear sky day. You can see Mount Adams and Mount Hood. It's really fabulous. West winds breezy, as we mentioned, and these temperatures cooling down a little bit from the past couple of days. Still warm in the East Gorge at about 88, but not in the 90s. Here's a look at our coastal camera, Chinook Winds Casino Resort. This is our Central Coast in Lincoln City, and look at this. We had solid cloud cover, already getting some sun. Yesterday, all of the cameras I had eyes on showed sunshine developing up and down the Oregon coast. So we'll see if that happens today. The clouds are still being reported up in places like Astoria. Inland, when you get up in elevation, just perfectly clear. Folks will be under a blue sky in the Cascades doing some hiking and recreating, maybe camping this weekend. 53 is the number at 6,000 feet early this morning. Past level temperatures today expected to hold just shy of 70 in the 60s. And of course, there's the Oregon State Capitol down in Salem. Beautiful, sunny, clear sky morning out there, and it will be sunny all day. Portland's had a bit of a weak push of morning clouds. When you get on the other side of what we call our West Hills, it's been sunny, and from downtown Portland off to the east, we've had some clouds, but already breaking up this morning, and we'll be set for a beautiful sunny afternoon. Futurecast shows the clouds clearing out during the day today. Most of the coast also shows a chance of some thunderstorms down near the California border in southeastern Oregon. If you are going to be in our area for the weekend, this is a solid push of low clouds tomorrow morning. For the most part, we don't think they have any moisture with them, and then they'll clear out during the day and help hold our temperatures even cooler. And again, later tomorrow, southeastern Oregon, you can see a chance of some scattered showers and thunderstorms. So, all right, here's our coast today in the 60s. Weekend plans for the Oregon Beach. Morning clouds, afternoon sun in the 60s all throughout the weekend. Valley temperature today, Salem sunny all day and about 83, very comfortable indeed. Southwest Washington, we've had some morning clouds, so not quite as warm. But still, Vancouver could hit 80 degrees for a high. We have a few 90s showing up on the map this afternoon. Pendleton out in the Columbia Basin getting up to about 90 degrees. And here are the numbers for Portland, our 7-day forecast. 80 today with the morning cloud cover expected tomorrow and then some sunshine, only about 76. Really comfy, right? About 80 on Sunday, and then by Monday we're starting to warm up for a few days. We still think we could hit 90 Tuesday of next week, and we're actually adding a rain chance next Wednesday night into Thursday.
And now we're heading north to Spokane. They also are looking for some beautiful sunshine, and it seems like meteorologist Thomas Patrick is expecting this weather to last all the way through the rest of July.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. A beautiful Friday morning so far, and honestly, the skies have been about as blue as I've ever seen them, especially in the summer season here. Expecting a whole lot of sunshine for not just today, not just this weekend, but possibly all of next week as well. A quiet but decently hot finish to July here with, of course, sunshine basically every single day. Absolutely no rain chances anytime soon. So the small details will be the details that matter, including the windier days like today and the hotter days like we'll see at the very end of the month here. Again, our averages at 87 degrees, and that is as hot as it gets all year. The last week of July is on average our hottest weather of the season. For today, we're very close to that average mark with a forecasted high of 88. It's next week when the wick will get turned up a little bit more. Could be some of our hottest weather of the entire season, but it's not looking terribly extreme at this point. Again, a live picture over downtown Spokane, Riverfront Park, clock tower and the pavilion in the foreground here. Honestly, just loving that the trees are looking so vibrant today. Sunshine just seems a little bit brighter than it usually is. And it's all blue skies throughout the inland northwest to central Washington and Moses Lake. Maybe one or two clouds way off in the distance there. And then we take you to North Idaho. This is Lookout Pass at an elevation near 5,000 feet. And it is just crystal blue skies overhead. So don't expect any shade from any cloud cover anytime soon. It's also worth noting that those skies are blue because it is just not hazy and it is not smoky. Even a couple of the still active fires in Washington state, not really producing any kind of smoke here. So we are good to go, at least for the time being. Meanwhile, there is a storm system to the north, mainly over northern Alberta right now, and the jet stream is snaking through western Canada. But this is as far south as it goes. It's close enough to give us a slightly breezier day today, but it is not going to swing through. It is not going to give us a cold front. Instead, it actually starts to thin out and deteriorate from here on out. You're going to see a more detailed forecast of that jet stream in a moment, but we focus in on the winds. Again, the smaller details, the details that matter for eastern Washington. A slightly breezy day, really from the central part of the state off the eastern Cascade slopes near Wenatchee and Ellensburg, and that does carry into eastern Washington with wind gusts up to 25 miles per hour today and just about 10 to 20 miles per hour tomorrow. Usually would not be noteworthy, and really the only thing that is noteworthy on that is that we are not seeing red flag warnings, not quite to the threshold for that critical fire danger conditions, just more of an average breezy day. All right, here's this jet stream forecast that I promised you. It does dissipate over British Columbia into early next week. Any storm systems that would ride along it also just kind of deteriorating into just mountain showers either to the north or along some areas of eastern Oregon, central Idaho, or western Montana. Just on the outside of the Spokane area and really the Columbia Basin does stay purely dry. And what happens for next week is this low pressure area that gets cut off over the North Pacific basically stalls the entire weather pattern for the rest of North America. So with that being said, it's just going to be sunny day after day after day. And some of those days will start to trend a little bit hotter than the rest. For now, we do stay pretty much near average. 88 degrees for the high temperature in Spokane today, as well as Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Staying in the mid-80s for this weekend. Very comfortable, very average July weather. But next week is when the heat amps up just a little bit more. Low to mid-90s looking likely next week as we cap off July.
And when we come back, a look at your national forecast, plus later on how AI is helping farmers. Don't go anywhere. More Weather Out West comes up next. We've looked at a mix of the weather along the west and western states. Now it's time to turn to meteorologist Alan Holt, where there seems to be a similar story, with some areas dealing with heat and others looking out for storms.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Alan Holt. I hope you are well this Friday. Lots of people in the southeast and central part of the country going to be influenced by a big region of high pressure that sets up between now and the weekend. Triple-digit heat index value is going to be quite common places like Oklahoma, St. Louis, and parts of the southeast. There's also going to be some disturbances working around the northern side of that region of high pressure, so unsettled weather from, say, Kansas City up through Chicago, extending into Canada, and more rain along the Gulf Coast. A little tropical disturbance working through parts of Louisiana and Texas this Friday. We'll start up in the northeast New England area. This front moving through this afternoon could be the catalyst for some strong to severe level thunderstorms in that part of the country this afternoon. And then this stationary boundary gets pushed up to the north a little bit as high pressure starts to develop and get firmly placed in the southeast. So that same region, the Midwestern states, the Great Lakes, that stays unsettled with that stationary boundary staying put there, and we'll still see some Gulf showers through the day on Saturday, and that is in part because of that tropical disturbance that'll be working into that part of the country. A lot of the west going to be very quiet as we head into and through the upcoming weekend. This area of interest, again, a low chance of developing, probably will not, but what will happen is rainfall in the Texas Gulf Coast and northern Gulf states. So 1 to 3 inches of rain from Houston to New Orleans between now and Sunday. We'll take you through the country now. Next 3 days through the weekend. Nice in Seattle, mid-70s there. Bit hotter as you get toward Boise, looking at mid to low 90s through the weekend. Pretty dry and hot throughout the west. Look at Phoenix flirting with 110 by Sunday. Texas also going to be pretty hot. DFW 100 this afternoon, 90s throughout much of the rest of the state, and a bit unsettled Friday, Saturday with that tropical disturbance working into that region. Same type of vibe in places like New Orleans, going to be hot with a little bit of rain here and there with that tropical feature in the Gulf. Tampa looking hot, mid-90s. Look at what Charlotte's doing. Saturday, Sunday, both right around 100 degrees. Very hot for the Midwest and mid-south here over the next 3 days. Warm up in the north as well. 90 in Minneapolis on Sunday, and a little bit cooler up in New England. Mid to low 80s for the weekend in Portland, Maine. For In the News Weather, I'm Alan Holt.
And we're not done yet. We've heard AI is changing everything, and that includes helping out farms. After the break, we'll see how AI and robots are helping farmers monitor their crops. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. Farmers in Western Washington are teaming up with robots and AI. A new program gives them free access to cutting-edge technology to monitor their crops. Seattle's King 5 Bridget Chavez with the Environment Northwest team shows us how it's helping farmers work faster and smarter.
A lending library, but in Snohomish County, it's not books on a shelf, it's robots in the field.
We are using soil moisture sensors, and then we also have soil optics.
You won't find books here, but you can borrow tech that cuts down on labor and gets straight to work. No fees, just smarter farming.
AI is being used for us as consumers to improve our lives, and subsequently there's no reason it can't be done on farms as well.
It's all part of the Snohomish County Ag Tech Program, a first-of-its-kind initiative with 4 big goals: mapping differences in soil quality using high-tech sensors, tracking moisture in real time to help farmers fine-tune irrigation, hands-on training for the next generation of ag workers, and a collection of high-tech tools farmers can check out and put to work for free. Like the Burro Grande. At Swans Trail Farm, Nate Krause and his workers are using it in the apple orchard.
They could cut and then throw it in here rather than using the wheelbarrow the whole time.
This robot isn't just tagging along, it's transforming farm work. It can carry up to 1,000 pounds and tow up to 5,000.
The tech comes from Innovate Ag.
These are really designed to be multi-purpose vehicles.
Founder and CEO Steve Mantle partners with Snohomish County to get it into farmers' hands.
Your tax dollars are at work to help these smaller to medium-sized growers to be able to thrive and pass things on to the next generation and facilitate adoption of technology and putting AI to work, including education around that. Makes a lot of sense.
The program launched in 2020 with COVID-19 funds, but now it's funded by a $600,000 grant from the Washington State Department of Ecology. Linda Nunzig oversees agriculture for the county, and she's a farmer too.
If we can bring in something to make life easier, to make it more efficient, to be able to help people, then we're going to do it.
She hopes this model spreads statewide and beyond.
But it provides data and technology that we didn't know we needed.
With a shrinking farming workforce,
we can't find help anymore.
This tech isn't just nice to have, it's becoming a necessity for survival.
So being able to do something like this helps that bottom line.
Take apples, for instance. Labor makes up more than half of the production costs.
In apples is a great example of it. They are losing money for every bin that is picked.
The big thing we face is labor. It is our highest cost. And so with a lot of this technology we've implemented, our goal is to be more efficient and precise in everything we do as far as farming goes.
That's why Krause offered up his farm as a test site.
Since we've been doing this, I've learned a lot of different things about technology. It's allowed us to, really advance our orchard in particular, our fields, and what we have here.
And if it works here, it goes into the library for other farmers to borrow.
I feel very lucky to be the person who they bring all this stuff to and say, hey, what do you think of this? Please try it out in your orchard, or please try it out in your farm. Give us feedback and see. There's been a number of things that haven't worked, and once they do work, and if they do work, then they go and they get passed off through the farmers in the Snohomish valleys.
For Environment Northwest, I'm Bridget Chavez.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm still waiting for AI and robots to weed my garden. That's when I'll look into getting one for sure. We've covered a lot of weather in this hour. As usual, it looks like a lot of different kinds of weather on tap across the West this weekend. It's always amazing to me how much variation there is across the West at any given time. And here's kind of a fun fact for you. So in the month of July, Seattle is actually, which is known for rain, is actually drier than the city of Phoenix. Phoenix gets 91 hundredths of an inch on average for the month of July. Seattle only gets 0.6 of an inch. So people that say it's a rainy city, well, not all year round. And it's always interesting to see how these things just kind of switch around. But it's going to be a nice weekend overall. Hopefully you're somewhere where you can really enjoy the weather. Let's take a final look at some of those 7-day forecasts before. See Sacramento looking at, well, a nice weekend there with temperatures in the 80s and 90s in pretty good shape overall. And take a look at San Diego, a little cooler there. They have that ocean influence going on for them, so they're in pretty good shape. And take a look at a couple more there. You can see Boise starting to heat up a little bit, getting to the upper 90s as they head towards the middle part of next week. Seattle, it's going to be a good weekend with temperatures in the 70s and low 80s. And Phoenix, well, there you go, those triple digits out there overall. That pretty much does it for us here with Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Rich Merritt. Thank you for staying with us today, and be sure to tune in on Monday for another round of Weather Out West.